But this is slightly different than what you might have been doing till now. Interviews are slightly different, not very different, but yeah, there are some differences. So when I say how to start, I will also like to say that starting is the most difficult phase of this entire 3 or 6 month journey. Also, if you're in first or second year, you don't need to sit back and relax. I would suggest start early, because the sooner you start, the higher you can go. So when I say 6 months or 3 months, I'm specifically talking about the people who are in their third year maybe or fourth year right now. But for the others, any time is good to start. You don't need to delay it further. So yeah, that being said, starting this journey of your preparation is often the most difficult phase, because you don't actually know a clear roadmap as to how and what you will go about. Because as such, there are no books for this. There is no syllabus to cover, as you might have been doing in your college exams. There is no fixed syllabus. It is a very open-ended question as to what you can cover to ace these interviews. So the ideal thing which I have found to be the most suitable for most people is that you begin easy. And that is sort of obvious as well, because when you are a kid in your first year, you begin with smaller things, right? So similarly for this one as well, I would suggest that you begin easy. Easy as in begin with small problems and low difficulty topics such as arrays or stuff. So beginning with the most easiest of things will give you the required momentum to actually pursue it further. And once you get the momentum going, there is no turning back. It's not difficult, to be very clear. So another key thing to talk about is, after you begin or after you make up your mind to begin, how will you actually proceed by it, or the plan of action. The plan of action should be such that there are actually two ways to go about them. So first, let's talk about the topics which you need to cover for software development roles. And for the MNCs I'm talking about, you probably need, you know, problem solving skills. Problem solving as in competitive programming, data structures, algorithms, something like that. Not exactly competitive programming, but yeah, more of data structures, algorithms, and problem solving using algorithms. So this is the most highly tested topic across interviews. Apart from that some profiles and some companies will also want to test you on some other core CSE topics. For example, um, operating systems, computer networks, database management systems, and some other things about your projects. So again, there are two things to getting an interview. First is actually that you uh, procure, or you actually get to the interview level. Before that, you have to go through a profile screening, or a resume filtration process, which most companies have. So when you submit your interviews on some portal like careers.google or careers.microsoft portal, yeah, amazon.jobs portal, the HR or the recruiter will first look at your interview and decide whether your profile or your candidature is worthy of consideration for further rounds of interview or not. So that being said, because an interview is an involving process not just for you but for the recruiter and the company as well, they will not want to waste their human resource and their manpower to actually interview someone whom they already sort of know that might not end up getting selected. So the first and foremost thing is that you get your profile in a good shape, profile in terms of resume, because that is what the HR will look at in the first go. I'm still audible, right? Okay, it was just showing me that my connection is unstable. Anyway, yeah. So the first thing will be, yeah, that you have a decent profile, not very extraordinary with a lot of hackathons and every awards and stuff, but a very simple profile with some decent projects, maybe two or three, not more than that. That is all you need for an entry level fresher university graduate role. Okay, so once we have that, you are in a fair enough chance to get an interview call, right? But of course, the more the better, but that's decent to have three good projects on your resume and a couple of maybe work experiences, might be paid or unpaid, or maybe designing some website for your GDSC club in your college. That's fine. So yeah, so the plan of action could be two things. First option is for people who have less time. So this plan of preparation might not yield 100% results, but it is a very good way to actually maximize the probability of getting or cracking the interview. So this is something which you can talk like solving mixed bag questions. So I'll just get to it in a moment. Yeah. So first, before that, let me get to the topics you need to cover specifically for the problem solving domain. So there are some topics you might as well want to take a screenshot of this. But yeah, so some topics which are frequently asked, but there are a lot of questions which you can practice. But the companies which you are targeting right now, the top product-based companies, and I mean, barring a few like Trilogy Innovations and stuff like Coordination, most of these companies will ask something or the other from this set of topics which are listed on the page on your screens. Okay, so you don't need to go that advanced. These are still medium level topics, easy to medium level topics, which are doable in a decent amount of time. Okay, so having said that, I was talking about the two strategies of going about the preparation phase. So the first strategy is, of course, doing everything topic wise. This is the more sure shot way, and people who are in their first and second year should be doing this right now. That pick one topic, and of course, as I said, begin easy. So probably you want to begin with arrays or stacks or linked lists. And after you have picked one topic of your interest and you want to start preparing it in depth, you can go on to certain platforms like LeetCode, Geeks for Geeks, and others, even like HackerRank or so. But I think these two are fine. LeetCode and Geeks for Geeks will be more than sufficient for your current goals. Yeah. So yeah, for the first strategy was to do it topic wise. Like for example, pick one topic, let's say stacks. You need to do sort of say 50 questions on stacks. So let me show you how you can actually search. If I take Geeks for Geeks, let me share my entire this one. Yeah, so when I say Geeks for Geeks, I mean practice.geeksforgeeks.org. This is a free website. LeetCode is paid, but it has some features as well for which they want to make you pay for. But this is sufficient for these companies. So let's say you pick up arrays, you just pick here array, and then you will have a assortment of questions which are involving arrays, right? So there's an endless list of questions. You don't need to solve all of them. Just try to pick some 20 questions, or depending on the tags, you have the difficulty, you have the companies in which these questions have been asked. Say this was asked in Amazon, Google, and Microsoft as well. Uh, so yeah, just go topic wise, pick questions and start solving them. All right. So this is the first way of doing it. The second way of doing it, for people who have less time, say only 3 months left before the companies start coming for placements, or you start seeing applications or advertisements opening for, on career pages of campus. So for those, if you have a basic understanding of topics, let's say even the basic topics like array stacks queues, if you have a basic understanding of them, because as I know most of you are CSE students, you must have had a course on data structures in your college. So I'm assuming you have done that course if you're in your third year. And since you've done this course, you already have a basic know-how of how a stack works in theory, right? So for that, if you have less time, you're in your third or fourth year, the most ideal way for you to go about is to actually get some mixed bag questions, get some hang of some mixed bag problems. So to do that, you can simply sort questions topic wise. For example, yeah. So if you click on this problem tab over here, you can see, you can just remove the filters, unnecessary filters, remove this. Yeah. So this is a set of all questions which you have. You can, pick a difficulty, let's say basic difficulty, if you're just beginning out, and you can try to solve some 30, 40 questions from here in a week. And once you're done that, you will have the sufficient momentum to target some better questions, because of course once you're facing the interview you won't be asked these simple questions, but it's good to begin with. And also, doing and solving questions in your exam in your college is way different than answering questions in an interview. All right. So for people who have less time, I would not suggest going topic wise. I would rather suggest going in a mixed bag fashion. Okay. So let's come back to this tab. Okay. So now let's talk about these topics. So arrays you already know. Stacks is a very simple data structure. Again, a linked list is also very simple. Queues are simple. So these are the, when I said begin easy, these four are the ones you should be beginning with. Okay. Uh, Let me actually try to write down the order in which you should follow these. So maybe stack array is one, then you can say stack is two, or let's avoid, make stack three. Linked list could be just the second topic which you want to take. Then you might want to check out hashing for a change in flavor. Then you can come back to queues. So once these 5 topics are prepared, you have a very decent grasp of cracking basic to medium level of interviews. Okay. Uh, let's say not Google or Amazon or Microsoft, but you can sufficiently easily crack other companies like, Oyo, Paytm or stuff. Okay. These are also very good companies, high paying, more than 12 lakh per annum. So these are the foundations of what is yet to come. So of course, don't get contented over here. Of course, you should be targeting more. Okay. So once these 5 topics are well and prepared, you maybe revise them again, and then go on to maybe trees. Um, After trees, you can get a flavor of graphs, and simultaneously do some BST and heaps as well. Um, okay, fine. So these should be done together. Trees, graphs, BST, and heaps. These should be done together. And these dynamic programming. Let's begin with recursion and backtracking first. So if I mark it as 6 again, this is again 7. This is maybe again 7, and then this becomes 8. Okay. So as I said, trees, graphs, BST, heaps, these topics should be done together because they're related. Similarly, recursion, backtracking, divide and conquer strategies, and dynamic programming should be done together because, again, they are related. Then you're left with some other overhead topics like bit masking, segment trees, which you can do anytime, even just with some basic knowledge of dynamic programming and trees is also sufficient to start with these. So let's mark them 9 and 9. Okay, and this is of course 10. But you don't need to do this. This is only if you're interested. You don't need this as such. Okay, so maybe take a picture of this, and uh, even hashing can come as a 2 as well. It's not difficult. Okay, fine. So I have made some groups. This what do I call it? Trees, graphs, and BST heaps are in one group. Do them together. Dynamic programming, recursion and backtracking, and divide and conquer are one group. Do them together. Then stacks, linked list, and queues are again one single group. So do them together. Fine. And arrays should be followed by hashing as well because this is very important and very handy. This will be applied in most of the questions. All right, this looks good then. Let's get back to this. So far, are there any questions? I am unable to see if what I am talking is noise or not. I mean, is that making sense? Is that fine? No, I mean, what I'm saying, is it making sense to everyone or? Sure. Sure. Okay. Just try to be a little interactive because I get lost in the middle if you stay mute. Anyway, so now I've also observed one very interesting thing, which is that uh, interviewing processes have been evolving through the years, and now that we are in a very crucial and advanced stage in the IT sector, interviewing has been changed like never before. So once you are doing a mixed bag sort of revision, for after you're done with some topics and you want to revise them, or you want to prepare 1 month before your interview, the most ideal way of preparing is actually to go to the recent questions, maybe the last 1 or 2 years of interviews. And how will you find that is again platforms like Geeks for Geeks and LeetCode only. I'll show you how to find those. Let me open that again. I'm sorry, I opened the wrong tab. Yeah. Okay. So there was some, yeah, you can sort by newest. Okay. Um, no, I don't think this is a good idea. Wait. If you go to practice, but Geeks for Geeks, it will show you. There is a section called interview experiences. Yeah. Okay. So let's say you're preparing for Amazon. I mean, not necessarily you have to go company wise. This is a very bad practice to go company wise, but just to show you that you should be targeting, when you're revising, you should be targeting least latest questions, not very old 5 year ago questions which have been asked. So let's go to Amazon. So you will find actually just that. Wait, not this. I'm not talking about this one. I will actually show you something else. Wait a minute. No. Wait. I have bookmarked a link for you. I'm just trying to find that out. Yeah. Okay, found it. Okay, so this one, I kept it bookmarked for you. I'll share it in this chat here. This one. So let me open it here as well. Okay. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, people keep posting their interview experiences, right? So maybe 1 month before the interview, the best way to go about practicing and gaining more confidence along the way is to check out people who have been interviewing for some of these companies recently. Okay, so these are already filtered according to the date, also the date of being posted on the portal. And if you, let's say, open for Google. Okay, let's open this one. And round one, telephonic. Yeah, okay. So he was given an n-ary tree. Again, this is a question on trees. All right. Then given an array of n numbers. This is a question on arrays. Okay. So I mean, more or less the topics which I told you are what will be asked to you, but the difficulty and the assortment or the application, because that might be diverse, because you might get a question which involves both hashing as well as trees. Okay, so intertopic or interdisciplinary questions can also be there. All right. So yeah, I mean, so once you are actually done with your preparation for the last 1 month, the best way to go about is to check out some recent questions which have been asked. Okay, so this was what I wanted to tell you. Apart from that, let me get back to so now that I have talked a lot about the preparation phase, let me let us discuss something about during the interview. How do you proceed during the interview with your recruiter? All right. So there are a few key things you should keep in mind. The first is the interviewer is not your enemy. Okay. Most people end up getting so scared with their interview or the interviewer that they start shivering or stammering and they lose confidence. So always keep in mind that the interviewer is your friend, and he is there to help you get selected or get hired. Okay, you should never think that he wants to ridicule you or mock you by when you're not able to solve questions, or you should not think that he's there to actually um, make you get some or make some mistake in the questions. He's always there to help you. He will give you hints when you are stuck somewhere or when you're thinking something. Okay, so during the interview you are expected, first thing is communication skills. So to boost communication skills, I had a very interesting idea. I might as well discuss with Diksha for this. I was thinking of organizing a series of peer-to-peer interview mock sessions, in which people who are about to face interviews can come for practice and maybe get their confidence boosted up or something. So maybe some people who have already done or cracked some jobs and maybe in the fourth year can take some interviews, and people who are in the third year who are about to sit for placements or about to apply off campus can maybe practice with them just to get a hang of how it should go. Okay, and get some feedback real time. So this can be started, but I mean, that's another day, story for another day. So apart from communication skills, because you should be able to interact properly, whatever you should be able to communicate properly so that the interviewer gets to know, because the interviewers have a larger task at hand. They are documenting the entire thing you're speaking. Okay, so whatever you are saying, they are vigorously writing that down on a piece of paper or typing that on their screens, so that the next HR or the next interviewer can consider that. And when the final decision, for example, in Google you have a hiring committee. So when all your interviews are done, all your transcripts of the interviews and all the comments and feedback goes to the hiring committee for review. And after that, the committee takes a vote as to whether the candidate should be hired or not. Okay, so the interviewer is primarily writing things down for you, not just there to sit and listen to what you're saying. So make sure you talk very clearly, very softly, but yet very clearly, loudly, and be concise. Okay, think before speaking. Okay, so in a technical interview, you are majorly asked some key aspects apart from communication skills. He wants to see, for example, let's consider the situation that he gives you to implement salon's waiting list. Okay, you have a salon and you have some chairs, like a barber shop. You have a barber shop, you have some number of chairs vacant and some number of workers working on those chairs. Okay, and there's a waiting line outside. So how do you actually implement a data structure so that people can keep entering in the waiting line, and as soon as the chair gets freed, the person who arrived most early gets that vacant spot. All right, so there can be much more angles and dimensions to it, but let's take it for an example. So the interviewer will ask you to actually implement a data structure from scratch for this one. Okay, this is a very simple or easy to medium level question. Fine. So he will ask you why you are doing what you are doing. The first thing, the why. So let's say you pick a queue. So he'll ask you, why do you want to actually use a queue for this purpose? Why not a stack? Why not an array? Or why not something else? Okay. So you need to be clear what advantages and what benefits of the structure you are choosing will elicit in this particular situation. Okay. Then comes the how. He will ask you to implement it in code. Okay. Most of the interviewers allow Python, Java, and C++. So I think most of you must be familiar with at least one of these three languages. So that's fine. And last thing is that after implementation, he will ask you one standard question, which is, what is the complexity of your approach? Let's say if uh, one new person enters the queue, what is the complexity of your code to tabulate the person? Okay. Let's say if two people leave at the same time, what is the complexity that your code will run into? So something like that. So that's for the complexity part. Okay. Yeah. So apart from this, that is how an interview goes. So this was for the technical part. So let me know if you have questions about the problem solving aspect. Okay. Next, we will be moving on to talking about the the other topics which are discussed or asked in the interviews, how to prepare for them, and how to actually get a grasp on topics like databases, networks, operating systems. Okay. So talking of technical interviews for engineering roles in companies, apart from problem solving, you may also be asked on questions like computer networks. What is IP? What is subnetting? How will you maybe how will you, let's say you have a website and you observe that the website is getting slower and slower and slower. How will you try to troubleshoot that? These kind of questions, network based questions, operating system based questions. Which command is used for seeing the process list? Okay. How will you make two programs interact with each other using the operating system? Something like this. Okay, these kind of questions. And of course database is very straightforward. Databases, let's say you have a college, you have a table of student IDs, names, addresses, parents name, phone number and stuff, and you want to find out the people who live in, let's say, Delhi. Okay, so write down a SQL query for that. So such kind of questions are usually asked, but how to prepare for them is again a very ambiguous topic which people might not have clarity on. But the one thing which I can assure you of that is these topics won't take time. In 1 month, which is roughly 1 week to 10 days per subject, you will be able to get a decent grasp of them by watching videos on YouTube or other resources, by going through some questions, maybe gate questions might help with this, okay? Especially in databases. So once you have that decent grasp or basic to medium level of proficiency in these topics, that's fine. So talking of resources, for questions, you might check out gate questions, which are again on Geeks for Geeks, or some other platforms like Tutorials Point or other, Interview Bit, other platforms, okay? Um for lectures and learning purpose, you can check out YouTube. They have a lot of free resources, like Free Code Camp has a very nice database course of like 8 hours or so. Same for networks and same for OS. So namely these three topics, not more than three, not less than three, these three topics you should. And of course, I'm sure you must have had a course on each of these topics in your college. So all of these three topics are uh, you know required in some companies. I mean, for Google cloud roles, you may not need databases. For software roles, you might not need, let's say, networks. But I mean, it depends. It's good to have. You never know where you end up getting an interview call from, and you never know next week where or which company you will be interviewing for. So it's good to have a decent grasp on these topics, and these are very doable on a fast track pace. 3 to 4 days per topic is also fine if you want to do it in a super fast mode. But yeah, that will have its compromises again, but not recommended, but that's still doable. So 15 days for these three topics is still fine. You can manage it. Okay. So now that we are done with most of the things which are asked in an interview, what else can we talk about? Let's first check out the questions which you have, and then we can maybe pick them up one by one. Okay. Um, we have 20 minutes left, and I would want to devote that time to the questions. All right. So let me know. I am waiting. Yeah, by the way, I forgot one thing. This is a book which is called Cracking the Coding Interview. And I have a PDF of it. I'll be sharing with you. Just let me get it. And meanwhile, you can type in your questions. Let me get it and I'll share it in the chat. Mm, Yeah, I have the link with me. Let me share. Mm, yeah, here is it. Okay, so this is the book which you can refer to if you like to refer books, but even if you don't do it, it's fine. But yeah, for some structured way of learning, for people who like structure and like a little more organized roadmap of learning, you can refer to this book. This is a very popular book. and is definitely going to help anyone who uses it. So yeah, so I think you can see this, right? Okay, so this is the book which has a lot of, let's look at the index. Okay, so they have actually described a variety of things, company based experiences, role based things, like for experience profiles for testers and SDETs, product management roles for dev leads managers, startups, engineers, interviewers, everything. So depending on the role which you're interviewing for, depending on the topics, depending on the company, you can find suitable resources there. And they even have topic wise things like data structures, questions, hash tables, array list, linked list, stacks and queues, trees and graphs, bit manipulation, which is bit masking that I just mentioned, math puzzles, object oriented design, recursion and DP, all of these things. Okay, so yeah, that being said, this is a good resource which you can look at. Okay, so we have our first question from Saurabh. All right. So Saurabh says, what should be the aim for first interview? So, what do you mean by first interview? Like first interview of your life, or what? I mean, first like an entry level interview, or what? Okay, okay. So first time, I'm assuming you are interviewing for a fresher role, or a role which requires no experience. Okay. So see, even if you're not prepared, the the goal you should have before an interview is not only to get the offer, but also to satisfy your own self that what you are speaking in the interview should make sense to you initially. Okay, you should not say something you don't know, because the interviewers are clever people. They can trap you. I'm not scaring you from bluffing the interviewer. You can definitely try to bluff them, and get get them to believe something which you don't know. That is also a way of doing it, but you should be very calculative into what you're saying. Make sure the interviewer does not trap you by repeating your statement and asking some justification for it. So, I mean, apart from that, coming to your question straight, it's that you should be contented that whatever you prepared, it may so happen that not even one question matches exactly what you have been preparing, but the entire process of preparation will give you that kind of mindset, that kind of outlook, so that you are able to tackle a fresh question. Okay, there are maybe hundreds of thousands of questions. Okay, and no one is able to solve all of them, but doing some assortment of them, doing some topic wise questions and covering topic breadth wise, will give you a very high probabilistic chance that you are able to tackle a question which you see for the first time. Okay, so if you're prepared, your aim should also obviously be to get the offer. But even if you're doubtful, you should be aiming that you satisfy your own self, that you have done justice to the time which you spent. Okay, and even if it does not turn out very good, even if you don't feel that you will get the offer, or even if you end up getting rejected, it is fine. Everyone gets rejected one time or the other. Okay, a few times, it's fine. As long as you learn from your mistakes, as long as you cover your loopholes, it is fine, because companies hire thousands of people. Okay, and only a few tens or hundreds of them end up getting selected. So of course the rest 900 people are of course rejected, right? So again, the moral of the story is that don't lose hope. There are hundreds of companies out there, and there are also hundreds of students out there who are working to get placed or get a job at those companies. So just be contented with what you're doing, and stay motivated. Don't, even if you're not getting results immediately, because when you start, you expect, it's very human to expect that you should get results immediately. You should, see that I've done this much, now let's me, crack some job or something. I should be getting interview calls from places. I mean, it doesn't happen that way most of the time. Okay, more often than not, you don't feel the car or the ride going uphill. You only feel that you are doing and doing and doing, but you're not getting returns in return, which is a very natural thing to feel. So be prepared for that feeling. Don't get demotivated. It's barely 3 or 6 months of hard work and is rewarding for a lifetime. Okay. You will be earning more than 12 lakhs a year, more than 10 lakhs a year, even if you don't land at Google or Microsoft or Amazon. And if you do land there, you'll be getting more than 18 or maybe more than 16 lakhs a year, which is very handsome salary for a 20-year-old kid. Okay. So the rewards are very fruitful and very interesting. You will have a comfortable life ahead. Just, it's barely 6 months of hard work. Don't lose hope, stay motivated, and have a positive outlook. Okay. And failures are inevitable. You don't have to worry about those. Okay, then Mohana asks that which one is best to learn, Java or Python? Uh, I think Python. Although I do primarily stuff in Java, I like Java more than Python. But if you're beginning out and if don't have much experience, or even if you do have experience, Python is essential anyway. Okay, Python, I think, is the answer to this question. What should one focus on, technical skills or okay, so Kundan, communication skills are obviously very important, but up to an optimum level. You don't need to be an Oxford University debater to crack coding interview. You just need to be sufficiently comfortable with the language you are speaking, so that you're able to communicate what you want to communicate. That's all. You don't need to have very sound debating skills or very sound presentation skills to actually convince a recruiter that you're fit for the role. So of course, focus more on technical skills, but have a minimal, a basic level of communication understanding as well. Also, I forgot to tell you one very important thing during the presentation. It is that uh, while practicing or while learning, you will be typing in some IDE, right? Maybe HackerRank online, maybe Geeks for Geeks online, okay, or maybe offline, let's say VS Code, IntelliJ, Eclipse IDEs, okay, or code editors of your choice. But these editors always have some autocomplete feature, right? Code completion, some kind of drop down list which comes out and suggests you what to write. If you write PR, it will suggest you printf, okay, in C. Or Python, if you write for, it will suggest you for I in range or something. Okay, so in an actual interview, if it is an offline physical interview, you will be given a paper or a whiteboard, okay, to write it using your hand. You will not be given a keyboard to type there. Okay, if it is an online interview, you will have your own laptop to type, but you will be typing in a txt file, maybe a Google Doc. Okay, you will not be given an editor to type, a code editor. Okay, you will be typing in simple English without any kind of prompts or suggestions to what you're doing. So you might want to have some preparation of that as well, or it is always a good idea to start everything in the same way. So don't use any IDE, or even if you have an IDE, disable the autocomplete feature when you code. Okay, so that will help you, because in the actual interview you will be given a Google Doc. If it is online, you will be given a Google Doc to code, and there will be no such features like completing code automatically or something, okay, suggesting you keywords or something. So keep that in mind. And yeah, what next? Do we have more questions? Um, so whatever I just spoke in the last 45, 50 minutes, does that make sense? Are you finding it helpful, or is someone who has a different opinion, or maybe you disagree on something, or you don't understand something? Is there something like that, or is it all perfectly making sense? Sorry. Yeah. Okay, 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 sure. And for the audience, others? Yeah. Okay, we have more messages. Uh, yeah. So, which coding platform is good for practice? I mean, it depends on your level of comfort. I would suggest Geeks for Geeks because it is Indian, also because it is free. You don't have any paid features over there like LeetCode. But I mean, it depends on where you're finding good questions. And I mean, I have found Geeks for Geeks fine. Okay. But there are other platforms like HackerRank, LeetCode, CodeChef, Code Forces, and other things as well, which you can check out. But for a basic level or an optimal level of DSA practice and interview practice, I think Geeks for Geeks is uh, good, I would say. Okay. So yeah, that is fine then. You should start off with Geeks for Geeks practice and then maybe try Lead Code also once you get time or once you get some good question over there. Okay. So for me, the top two ones are Lead Code and Geeks for Geeks for job preparation. And there's also one quest. There is also one platform called Interview Bit. That is also good. You can check it out. Okay. These three ones are fine. Okay, Mohana asks how many months it takes to learn coding perfectly. There is nothing called perfect here. It is all, maybe a very subjective matter. But as I said, if you are aiming for interviews specifically, after learning your programming language, it should not take you more than 6 months to have a solid grasp of it, even without doing some basic courses on these topics. So, okay, if even if you're not a very, outstanding student, if you are a, average level student, that's fine. A very optimistic and a very upper bound situation can be said like 1 year. It should not take you more than 1 year after you have learned your language uh, to master DSA and have be Google ready or Fang ready if you can call it. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's subjective. It depends on your pace of learning, but yeah, you should have a very good level of problem solving in less than a year if you do it regularly. Maybe three questions a day or so. Maybe 2 3 hours every day. I mean, of course, during the placement season, you might be willing to spend more time. That's fine, and you should. Okay, so other questions? We are running out of time anyway, but I can wait. Okay, so let me know if you have or whatever you want to ask. Okay, so what kind of companies are you targeting? Which companies are you aspiring for? And you know, give me some overview. Okay, apart from these, all right. Other people? Okay, okay. How can we improve personality? Um, Personality is an assortment of various characteristics. It is not just how you speak, but personality is more to do with, how you treat yourself and others as a human. Okay, I got it. So, I mean, there is no such fixed roadmap to improve your personality, but it is just that be a little more proactive, try to get involved in club activities. Maybe if you're in college, involve yourself in some socials. I mean, don't become extremely social. That's also very foul at times, but think before you speak, and be calm and composed at times. That is it, I think. There are as I said, there is no fixed roadmap for personality, but uh, of course it is important. So yeah, try to take some initiatives on your own, involve in organizing your GDSC events, try to get involved there, talk to as many people as you can, share their experiences, share your experience with them, and all sorts of things. um Fine. Okay, TCS, Infosys, Facebook, good. Okay, I think TCS, the bar will be lower slightly. You don't need very strong problem solving skills or coding skills for TCS, which is I mean, basic level of knowledge is fine. Just the basic array stack questions and some programming things are good. For if same for Infosys, but specifically for Netflix, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, you will need very strong problem solving skills. Okay, and one tip is that always apply with a referral. Try to search people on LinkedIn who can refer you. Try to find people. uh, you can try to find contacts, and people don't are very reluctant in giving referrals. They give it easily, so you don't need to worry. Okay. How many hours we should spend time in coding? I mean, of course, see, if you're in your third or fourth year, you should be spending a decent amount of time, like 4 or 5 hours every day, if you want to crack jobs immediately. And uh, if you're in your first year, maybe 2 3 hours depending on your interest. Second year, 2 3 hours every day. This should be fine. It is not a very difficult thing. So it's just that it needs practice and consistency, and also state of mind. Okay. What are you expecting? Uh, for me, I haven't thought much. I am expecting, to get some insight as to whether I want to do a job or not. So maybe for me, this internship will be giving me a flavor of whether I want to be a part of Google or not. Or if not, I'll probably go for higher education to do my MS outside of India. And if not, then I'll probably stick with Google for some time more, maybe as a full-time employee. So I mean, of course, this should give me experience plus a PPO or something. Okay. Uh, so that was for me. What else do we have? Tell me very quickly. So what is your feedback to the GDSC in your college? How is these activities going? This ultimate workshop series and other sessions with which these GDSC keeps organizing for you. How is the feedback coming? Okay, other people. Okay, Shivam says, if I'm stuck in any condition during coding, how can I continue? Where I get my problem regarding. Okay, so if you talk about Geeks for Geeks, if you're practicing on Geeks for Geeks, you will have a section, editorial or something, which from where you will be able to find the solution. If you're practicing on Lead Code, the editorial is a part of the premium version of Lead Code for which they want you to buy a subscription for, and the subscription costs around $140, which is around maybe 1000 no, 10,000 rupees or something. So don't buy the subscription. In Lead Code, if you're doing, try to look at the comments. So a problem's comments also has very insightful information, or maybe some solution, people comment solutions down there. So if you're stuck, read the editorial or read the comments. You will find solutions there. And even if you're stuck, even after doing everything, don't spend your entire day on one question. You can skip the question and move ahead. It's not a problem. Maybe you will want to revisit it after some time, but even if you don't, it's fine. Okay. So spend some time, but don't waste time on any particular question just because you're stuck. Okay. Uh, okay. Thanks, Aparanjani. It's actually good because. Okay. Good, good. Uh, so if you have more questions, you can always ping Diksha or Aparanjani. They have my number, and if you want to get in touch for something, you're most welcome. And I think it's 8:05 now. If there are no more questions immediately coming, we can hang up the call. Okay. So let me know. I'll wait for one more minute. If you have questions, let me know. I'll take them up. If not, we can hang up. Also, you can connect on LinkedIn or other platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, or something for an informal conversation if you want. I'm sure all of you are there on LinkedIn and Instagram. Fine. So no more questions. Okay then. I think overall this was fine. Now, okay. Over to Veenu now again. I think she was the host for today. Uh, yeah, yeah. Thank you, everyone.